Today you're going to carry on looking at using your sense to describe a setting rather than describing a dementor to help you with your poetry later in the week. So first of all, we're going to recap on the poem that we had yesterday called Ghost Bus. And we're going to look at three different vipers today. Okay, so we're looking at vocabulary retrieval and inference. We've got three different questions. So question number one, find and copy the word that means scared. Question number two, when did the bus come? And question number three, why did they think they were safe? So using the poem, see if you can answer the first three questions. Remember, if you find a copy a word, it means one word. Retrieval, you're getting it straight from the text. And inference, it means you're reading around the text to give your answer. When you have finished, come back and press play, ready for today's learning for writing. Okay, so yesterday we learnt about how we can create suspense in our writing, and we used these 4 steps, which was use our senses. Remember, that was about describing every little thing that happens, how it makes us feel, what we can see in front of us, what we maybe can hear as well. Turn off the lights. That means we're going to give something hidden. We're not going to give away exactly what we are seeing. We want the reader to feel like they are there by describing something in detail. We want to drip feed the reader. So we want to, by the end of our poem, give the reader what it is, but not right at the beginning. And give them a clue is about giving them little hints of what it could be. So without saying it's a dementor, describe the dementor in very, very little detail. Okay, so today we're going to look at how does J.K. Rowling create atmosphere. So the word atmosphere describes the setting, but not just setting what we see, but how that makes us feel as well. So I'd like you to watch the 2 video clips of the Hogwarts Express. One is from the very, very first film, and one is from the 3rd film. I'd like you to watch the 2 videos on YouTube, and then come back, and you're then going to compare how the atmosphere is different in the first film to the 2nd film. So press pause for now, go and watch the videos, then come back when you are ready. Okay, so we're looking at how are the atmospheres different in these 2 films. So let's have a look at the 3rd film, first of all, the one that we have been looking at in more detail. Okay, so when you watch the film, you should have noticed that the weather gives away a lot about what's actually happening outside. And I would say that the weather was quite unsettled. So I'm going to write the word unsettled down. Okay, so unsettled. So the weather's quite unsettled outside. Okay, now also that the weather's quite, I'm going to use the word dismal to describe the weather. Okay, so the weather is actually quite dismal as well. Okay, now in the other film, in the first film, what we saw, this one is very, very different weather outside. And actually, it's quite a bright scene. So I'm going to write the word bright. And I'm going to write the word lively, because actually it's quite a jolly scene. The characters are quite lively, whereas in the other one, they're actually a little bit more subdued. So I'd like you to compare those 2 scenes, okay, and create some words. I would say maybe about 6 for each one, describing the atmospheres in each scene. When you have done that, come back and press play. Okay, so task 1 today is you're going to use your senses to describe the atmosphere changes in the scene. So we're looking at now the 3rd film where the Dementors come and they're on the train. And we're looking at how when the Dementors come, the atmosphere changes within the train and also outside as well. So I'm going to start you off by writing a few words I think would describe the atmosphere. So you can use the ones from your previous page to help you as well. So I could put on here unsettling and dismal, but I'm going to try and think of some other ones as well. So I think that this atmosphere was quite uneasy. It made you feel a little bit on edge, like you weren't quite sure what was going to happen. Okay, so uneasy. I'm also going to write the word shadows because it's quite dark. can't quite make out all the time actually what you are seeing. So I'm going to write the word shadows. I'm also going to use the word silence because actually there's quite a lot of quietness in this part of the film. Not a lot of voices can be heard, only minimal sounds are there. And I'm going to write the word distress. Okay, so I would like you to continue with your mind maps. You can use some of my words as well, but then continue and use some more words that you think will describe that setting as an atmosphere that's created. So not the characters, not the Dementors, you're describing the atmosphere instead. When you are ready, come back and we'll start our next task. Okay, so task 2 now is then, you are going to write those words into some skill sentences. So I'm going to model that for you. Okay, so I'm thinking about now the train itself. Okay, so I'm writing from them being on the train. So I want to use a fronted adverbial. So as the train moved along the track. Okay, so that's my fronted adverbial. I'm describing where the train is, and I've used subordinating conjunction at the beginning as as. Okay, so as the train was along the track, I'm going to describe the weather at this point. So the weather became even more. I'm going to use the word that I've had on my mind map. I'm going to use the word unsettling. Okay, that means that the weather was already bad, but it grew even worse. Full stop. Okay, and I'm going to use a short sentence now. I'm going to put it was dismal. Full stop. So a short sentence. I've got now. I've got a complex sentence and I've got a short sentence as well. Okay, so it was dismal. So now I'm going to continue my writing. I'm going to put about the weather now, what is actually happening. So I'm going to put about the rain. So rain, it pounded. So I want that feeling that it wasn't just normal rain, that it was quite heavy like a storm. And it pounded at the windows. Now I'm using a bit of personification in a way. I'm actually saying that the rain can do something, it can act like a person. And the wind, now I'm not going to put howled, we always use howled, I'm going to put the word moaned again. So I'm using a bit of personification to describe the weather, making it feel like it's a person. The wind moaned, I'm going to put a preposition here where the wind moaned. So it moaned through the gap in the window. Okay, so I could continue to write some more, but it's only a model to write for you, but you can have a go at doing it yourself as well. So I'm going to read it back to you now. As the train moved along the track, the weather became even more settling. It was dismal. Rain pounded at the windows, and the wind moaned through the gap in the window. Okay, so that's your challenge today. So step 1 is to make your mind map of all your words, and then step 2 is then to use those words in some skill sentences. If you need any help, please email Miss Williams or I and we will try to help you.